time for Voice of Indie. Your hosts today are Beem Weeks, author, producer, and marketing monster for independent multimedia publisher Fresh Ink Group, and Stephen Gies, author, producer, composer, and publisher for Fresh Ink Group.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Voice of Indie podcast. Tonight is show number 214. I am your host, Beem Weeks, and with me over there is Mr. Stephen Gies. How you doing tonight, Stephen?
I'm doing fair to middling. I mentioned on last week's show that I've been dealing with some medical stuff, and I still am, but a week from today, I'm going in and have something done about it. So what's that doing to the podcast next week?
Next week is going to be, wait for it, a rerun, an encore presentation of an episode that we did with Annette Rochelle Aben. And that will be starting at 8 o'clock next week, but the phone lines will be closed, so it won't pay to pick up the phone and call in. And if you tweet, I might see it. I'll be around. I might see the tweet and answer the tweet if you got a question or something like that. But so just keep that in mind. Next week will not be live, but we will be back with live shows the following week.
Cool. So what's going on with this audiobook?
This audiobook ran a world in hiding.
Civilization
in hiding. And this is out, and it's up. You can go to Amazon, and you can grab a copy of it. It is a blast. I'm seeing some reviews on the book. I just wrote a review. Go over to my blog, beamweeks.wordpress.com, or just go to beamweeks.com, and you can read my review of the book. And Dr. Willis Croft is getting stellar reviews, and rightfully so. I think this is some of his best work. One of the reviews or comment that I saw on my blog was that this sounds like the old school kind of science fiction, and then that's what I told him. I said that he's a master of that old school type of science fiction, and if you're a fan of it, you're going to love this book, the audio book or the printed book as well. So get over there and grab it. And
now that audiobook, that's the third Ort Chronicle. The fourth one, which is called Keyed, A Lost Civilization, the book is already out. And the fifth book, no, that's Operation Vela Redux. So never mind, that's a Mac McDowell mission book. But he's got 4 of these books out now, so you're only up to the third one on this audiobook. I'll bet you got another audiobook coming soon, huh?
I'm waiting for the audio files to get here so I can get started, because these are a lot of fun to put together, coming up with the sound effects and the it ratchets up the tension in these things, and So if you want to be a part of tonight's show, you want to call in, you got a question, you got a comment, or you want to just get over on X and do a post over there, here's how you can do all of that good stuff.
Call 516-453-9902 right now with your questions or comments for tonight's guest, or post a note on Twitter with hashtag Fresh Ink Group in the body of the tweet, and we'll read it on air. That's 516-453-9902 or hashtag Fresh Ink Group on Twitter.
All right, we've got another book that's out now, published this week, Sunrise Over the Pumpkin Patch by Carlisle Thoms. He's the author of The Calling Dream and Edge of Smoke. So this is the third book by him we're putting out now, and The Gulls Must Be Laughing. His fourth one is going to be coming out in a few months as well. Sunrise Over the Pumpkin Patch. It's got a cool 70s retro Peter Max almost looking style art cover. So check that out. Sunrise Over the Pumpkin Patch, hardcover, softcover, and ebook editions are out there now.
All right. We've got another really cool book, Journey Through the Lens, Creative Guide to Nature Photography by Angie Birmingham. That is coming really soon. We're putting the finishing touches on that. We were working on that yesterday and today. Mr. Gies is working on the cover and all that good stuff, and I broke down the pricing and all that, and we're good to go here real soon, so keep your eyes and ears open for that one. Journey Through the Lens, Creative Guide to Nature Photography by Angie Birmingham. And that is a really cool book. The pictures in there are just phenomenal. Angie's quite talented, and she's going to teach you how to be as talented if you're a photographer and you want to learn.
Yeah, I've really learned a lot from it, too. I've always kind of wondered how they, just using the settings in their camera, make the blurry backgrounds, the glowing backgrounds, the backgrounds that look like they're moving, things like that. And she teaches all of those different techniques and shows how to try different things, experiment, find your own style. I'm real excited about that. And speaking of learning things, Trains of Alabama by Braden Dexter Green. Trains of Alabama, short lines, rail yards, engines, heritage units, rail fan photos, and more. That one's coming out pretty soon, too. That one's we're just putting that thing together now. I've learned quite a bit about what are short lines, for example. These are short little railroads that operate just like within one city or one county, one small area. And they're all over the country, and they're cool, and they have little backstories, and most of them buy vintage engines from the bigger companies, paint them with a certain look or whatever, and tool around, having a good time, making that money. But I've learned all about that kind of stuff, and in this book, Braden talks a little bit, just paragraph here or two, explaining all of this stuff to us, and then he fills it with stunning photos, and that's what's really fun about this.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one as well. I've seen some of the cool pictures in there, and that's never been a real big train nerd, but I've always been curious about trains and things like that. So, yeah. We've also got some new trailers, book trailers. I've just finished one today, Sunrise Over the Pumpkin Patch by Carlisle Thoms. That video is finished. It is complete, and I ran out of time before the start of the show, so I couldn't upload it to YouTube. But after this show, I'm going to upload it. Get over to YouTube, check it out, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. We constantly post new content. We got new book trailers all the time, and every week we've got an episode of this show that we put up over there, and just some really cool stuff. We make cool video book trailers, and we can make them for you. So if you're interested in one, contact us, and we can work something out. Here a few weeks ago, I put up the book trailer for Miratambo Moon Song by Michael Filippello. This is a children's book, and it is really cool. The video was a lot of fun to make. And that's over on YouTube right now, so you can go and check that out. And in the meantime, we're going to play the audio portion of that.
An illustrated fantasy for children, Miratambo Moon Song is a magical and uniquely told story about the clock of Miratambo. Struck by a bolt of lightning at 3:02, the clock of Miratambo has stopped ticking. What will the Zinkelquinkles of the town do? The kind Grand Baron who gave the clock to the town many blue moons ago sees what happens and sends a comet to the clock to save it from being silenced forever. When the moon is over Grand Shiloh Rise, will the clock come to life again with music and light and sound? Beautifully illustrated by author and artist Michael Filippello, Miratambo Moon Song is proudly published in case laminate hardcover, glossy softcover, and all ebook formats. Introduce your favorite kids to the Zinkelquinkles in Miratambo Moon Song.
Zinkelquinkle sounds like something that Hostess would make, you know, Twinkies and some Zinkelquinkles.
So I mentioned earlier that Operation Vela Redux by Robert G. Willis Croft is coming soon. I tried to put it in the Zort Chronicles series for a second there, but it's the 5th Mac McDowell mission series. And Mac McDowell, he's a submarine commander who's got it all together. And this is Cold War era submarine thrillers, usually conflicts with Russia, and they're just cool thriller suspense stories. And if you're into submarines and the Navy and that kind of life, that's all the extra bonus for you as well. So Operation Vela Redux, the 5th Mac McDowell mission book, is coming by Robert G. Willis Croft soon. And there's something else going on with Willis Croft there, Beam.
Speaking of Robert G. Willis Croft, this guy's a writing fool, let me tell you. He's a writer, he's not a fool. Book 4 in his Star Child saga, The Iapetus Federation, is coming soon. I got down here at the end of summer, and summer's winding down, but it's coming soon. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. Get that newsletter, and you'll find out. Tune into this show week after week, and you'll find out all the new books we got coming out.
Yeah, the 5th book in the Chair series by Robert McKenzie is coming out sometime about 3 or 4 weeks as well. The Chair 5. That's the 5th book in his series, and the series has been doing great, and he's got 5 of them, and we thought this was going to be it, but hey, you never know with Robert. So look for the Chair 5 coming soon.
Yeah, and we're going to have him on back on the podcast when the Chair 5 is out, so keep your eyes and ears open for that. The Reality of Interpersonal Leadership, A Guide to Leading Authentically by Janelle A. Jordan. That's coming soon. She's the author of Still Not Enough, Minority Millennials in the Workforce. This is right there getting ready to come out. So, again, pay attention. We've got a lot of stuff coming out. So stay on top of things. You want to stay on top? We've got a newsletter. So we'll get to that here in a minute.
All right, we got another one. Loretta Spencer, A Passion for Service, a candid memoir by the first woman mayor of Huntsville, Alabama. That's a book with about 400,000 photos in it, and I'm still editing those photos. So we're trying to get this thing out to layout sometime in the next couple of days. So look for that in about 3 to 4 weeks. Loretta Spencer, A Passion for Service.
Yeah. Jan Sykes, she's been hard at work. She has finished her second book in the Bargainer series, A Noble Bargain. In fact, that's pretty close to coming out. We are, possibly just, a few days to a week or so away, possibly, and we'll have that out for you. A Noble Bargain, book 2 in the Bargainer series by Jan Sykes. And I just mentioned a little while ago, we've got a newsletter, and we put all kinds of cool stuff in there. It's a short read, 20 minutes in your Wednesday morning. Sometimes Thursday, if something goes wrong with this show and we have to do it on a Thursday, we'll send another one out. But Wednesday mornings, 20-minute read, you're up to date on everything going on in the world of Fresh Ink Group, indie publishing, and the Voice of Indie podcast. And here's how you can sign up you can subscribe to our newsletter.
Stay on top of these podcasts and all things Fresh Ink Group with our weekly digital newsletter, new releases, videos, stories, excerpts, interviews, and more. Sign up now on the homepage of FreshInkGroup.com and be the one who knows what's what.
What? Are you a writer, an author? We know we've got a ton of authors out here in the audience. You like to write short stories? Well, we're looking for your short stories. We've got our second short story anthology that's coming out, and we're wrapping this thing up. And we're still looking for more short stories, right down to the wire. And you can send your short stories to us, get published, whether you're published or not elsewhere. This is a cool chance for you to get your work out in front of eyes of other people that may not be familiar with your work. And here's how you can go about getting your short story published.
Hey, writers. Got a short story looking for a prestigious anthology that will showcase your work alongside other top authors? Or maybe you've experienced a moment worth sharing, perhaps with some poignant meaning we could all appreciate. Fresh Ink Group is accepting submissions for our second and third volumes of the Fresh Ink Group Short Story Showcase to be released in hardcover, softcover, and all major ebook formats worldwide. There are no fees to enter. Winners are not only published, but are invited to become members with their own dashboard in the FreshInkGroup.com website. Head over to FreshInkGroup.com's Contests tab to learn more. Then grease up the old Underwood and get those shorts down so you can get your entries in sooner than later. And you readers, discover 49 wondrous tales already released in the Fresh Ink Group Short Story Showcase #1, available now in all formats worldwide.
Yeah, sweet.
All right. So let's check out what's happening in the print bestseller list from Fresh Ink Group books that we've published here at Fresh Ink. It's always fun to check these, see who's popping up in the list and see who's slowly sliding down. At the 25 slot, we've got B.A. Johnson's Pandemonium in Puzzle Towns, an illustrated chapter book for kids about inclusion and belonging and fitting in. 24, How to Paint an American by Andrew McGregor. That's the paperback edition of his novel. 23, Miratambo Moonsong, the paperback edition of Michael Filippello's illustrated book for children. And he does all the paintings in this as well as writing the text. And this is, as Beem mentioned, we got a new trailer for this over on YouTube. Go check that out. And then in the 21 and 22 slots, for Wayne Greenhoe's I Remember Judy, a love story. The paperback and the hardcover are both up in there in the top slots there. So that brings us to the top 20 now. There Must Be Something in the Water, Anthology of the Fourth Generation, Descendants of Green Pond After the Emancipation by Abigail Hughini. And that book it continues to do great. It's a great history book, African-American inspiration. And while we're at it, Abigail H. Eugeni's got another book on the list here with Mary L. Smalls called Mr. President, I've Got Your Back, the First Ladies of South Carolina State University. And that's a hardcover edition, Beam. People are liking that hardcover to put on the shelf and give as gifts. And speaking of ladies from South Carolina State University, the next one up is Najma Thomas, Dr. Najma Thomas's hardcover edition of As We Remember, A History of the Women's Relief Corps in Beaufort, South Carolina. So that's pretty cool. Now that gets us
Isn't it
to
Beaufort?
Yeah, no, Beaufort.
Beaufort?
Yeah, that's how the ladies pronounce it when I'm talking to them, Beaufort. So that gets us to 16 and 17. 17, How to Start and Run Your Own Food Truck Business in Tennessee by A.K. Wingler. And 16, Kenneth Lindquist, How to Teach Driving Behind the Wheel, Lesson by Lesson. And it's the Instructor's Edition. Now, I was the one who talked him into doing a Parents Edition, too, but I got to admit the Instructor's Edition tends to outsell the Parents Edition, although they're both doing pretty well. Now, that gets us into the top 15. The Chair, Volume 1, Lightning, Thunder, and Glory by Robert McKenzie. We're looking for the 5th book to come out soon. Above him, Mark Marlowe's Operation Counterpunch. Now, this thing keeps riding up in here lately, Beam. Something's going on. He was doing some publicity or something, because we published that a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
Yeah. Now, Robert G. Williscroft's perpetual bestseller here, the hardcover edition of Operation Ivy Bells on Mac McDowell Mission, and I just think it's cool. It's the hardcover edition that keeps doing so well of that book, because that means people are wanting to keep it or pass it around, share it, and have something that's a nice keepsake, as it were. That brings us to The Rise and Fall of a Construction Giant, The History, People, and Stories of CFW Construction up there in Fayetteville, Tennessee by Dick Farrer, Jr. That book's been, 8 years, I think, since we published that thing, and it's still doing well. Dr. Helen Burrell, American Agony, The Opioid War Against Patients in Pain is next up, and then Kenneth Lindquist's paperback edition of that Instructor's Edition of How to Teach Driving. Now, that gets us into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're up to 9, I believe. Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow by Nell Cooper. Beam, it's a hardcover edition of that new novel by her. It's up here doing so well. So that's pretty cool. She's been getting great reception, especially up there in the area around Lapeer, Michigan, where this home was for all those years. That brings us to number 8, Mr. President, I've Got Your Back. First Ladies of South Carolina State University, paperback edition. Now, we just had a very large order of those delivered to South Carolina State University this week, because they're holding an event next month with a big book signing. If you're going to be anywhere near South Carolina State University and you want to meet the ladies, let us know. We'll hook you up and give you the info. All right, that brings us to number 7. Operation Ivy Bells, a Mac McDowell Mission, the paperback edition of the first Mac McDowell Mission book by Robert G. Williscroft. We got number 5, Operation Vela Redux, coming soon, but this is the first one that kicks off the series. And that's pretty cool, because that means people keep finding the first book in a series, and we know they go on and read the subsequent books. Now, top 6. I believe it's college football season again. Beam, what do you think?
I believe it's college football season again as well, and I'm thinking that's going to have something to do with the Tennessee Volunteers.
Celebrate 98, the untold stories behind the Tennessee Football Vols' 1998 National Championship by Off the Hook sportscaster Dave Hooker. That's in our number 6 slot. Now, we've got a retired Navy guy down in Florida whose book usually rides pretty up high on the list here, and every now and then it kind of drops off, and I think he takes it personally when it does. So he's been out there talking it up again in the number 5 slot. Yeah. Submariner, 30 Years of Hijinks and Keeping the Fleet Afloat by retired U.S. Navy Lieutenant Commander Jerry Pate. Submariner, that's 60 chapters of memoir about life above and below the water, and he's got the stories to tell. So if you're into submarines, if you're into Navy, if you're into cool stories, that's a great one, and it also makes a great gift. That's in our number 5 slot. Congratulations, Jerry. You're riding back up on the list again. Number 4, David Carroll, I Won't Be Your Scapegoat. David Carroll's Homemade Social Media Blunders. What's that about, Beam?
That's about blunders on the social media and blunders on signs and things, and it's laugh out loud funny where somebody misspells a word or uses the wrong word or just says something intending to be funny and then ends up being hilarious. You will laugh out loud.
Yeah. And David Carroll's working on another one right now too, so that's going to be a lot of fun. That brings us to our top 3. Now let's skip over number 3 here and go to number 2, which is Nell Cooper's paperback edition of Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow. Boy, that book is starting to ride high up there, Nell. Congratulations on that. That's a very cool book. So that gets us to what's in the number 1 and 3 slots. The number 3 slot's the paperback edition. The number 1 slot is the hardcover edition of the same book, and it's by that Country Music Hall of Fame drummer. What's that thing called, Beem?
That's called Taking the High Road by Mark Herndon.
Just the high road.
He's taking the high road, as the tagline in the video says, because that's what he did. He spent 28 years on the road as the drummer for the country music supergroup, Hall of Fame group, Alabama. And he could dish some dirt if he wanted to, but he didn't. He chose to take the high road. So The High Road by Mark Herndon. Yeah,
The High Road, Memories from a Long Trip by Mark Herndon. And if you go to markherndon.com, you can buy a copy directly from him, and he'd autograph it and even inscribe it for you if you want to go that route. Mm-hmm. Or you can hit all the major retailers. You can get your ebooks, you can get your hardcover, you can get your softcover. But that hardcover edition is a very nice keepsake, and it's a great gift for the drummer fans in your life, the Mark Herndon fans, the Alabama fans, and even just the people who are into great behind-the-scenes music stories like Beem and I both are. So congratulations, everybody. It was a good list this week, a couple of surprises, a couple of returns, and good to see Submariner back in the top 5.
Definitely. And just a reminder, every one of those books, there's a book trailer over on YouTube for each of those books.
Every one of them.
I work my butt off putting these trailers together, so go over there and check them out. And if you like them, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. And while you're over there, you can also listen to past episodes of this show, because we've got an archive, and that's not the only place you can find them. So here's where you can find all of your old favorites and the ones that you might have missed.
Find your favorite show in the Voice of Indie archive on YouTube at Fresh Ink Group, StephenGees.com, BeamWeeks.com, FreshInkGroup.com, and on Spotify. And now you can listen on iHeartRadio and tune in. Just search The Voice of Indie, all one word.
Well, that music's got me bopping.
It's 1967, and promiscuous small-town girl Lavella can't wait to get away from her controlling mother to make her own life. She hooks up with Earl, an ugly hippie, rebelling against his rich father. At a time of severe racial tensions and the burgeoning civil rights movement, Earl whisks her off to San Francisco to experience the summer of love. Acid trips, a gay love affair, and deep betrayal eventually lead to Lavella's pregnancy, with a biracial child that Earl will accept, but which Earl's father won't. Lavella quickly discovers there is more to her mother's control than she ever could have imagined. Sunrise Over the Pumpkin Patch is a rich family saga by Carlisle Toms, author of The Calling Dream and Edge of Smoke. Proudly published by Fresh Ink Group, Sunrise Over the Pumpkin Patch is available worldwide in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats.
The stranger in Puzzletown has everyone talking. When he gets off the bus, his frumpy old suitcase simply says Kevin. He looks normal, but in a town where everybody has knobs, Kevin has no knobs. He's too different. Where can he live? Who would ever want to be his friend? Then a powerful force enters Puzzletown, and their world spins out of control. How will Kevin ever become a true citizen of Puzzletown when he just doesn't fit in? An illustrated chapter book for children, Puzzletown is by retired educator B.A. Johnson, author of Sassy Discovers the AME Church and Sassy Uncovers Peter Allen's Secret. Available in case-limited hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. Puzzletown teaches about inclusion in a fun and entertaining way. Published by Fresh Ink Group, Puzzletown has everybody talking.
All right. So how about we get to tonight's guest? Now, we had Joe Congel lined up for a spot last month, and we had the issues with Blog Talk Radio, so we rescheduled him. He's here tonight. I'll quickly read his bio and bring him in here. Joe Congel grew up in Syracuse, New York, and currently lives in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. I see Charlotte. We got a town right around the corner, spelled the same, and it's Charlotte, and I almost said Charlotte. He got his first break in the world of publishing when he illustrated the humorous book House Training Your VCR, a help manual for humans, published by Grapevine Publications back in the early 1990s. A few years after House Training set the world on fire, Joe decided that he was better suited as a writer rather than as an artist. So he began crafting stories that allowed the reader to use their own imagination to add the visuals to the narrative. Since he's enjoyed reading murder mysteries and PI detective stories all his life, he felt he had a pretty good grasp on how to create an engaging character in the world of private detecting. Dead is Forever is the first book in the Rasman Mystery Crime Files series, featuring Tony Razzolito, PI. The book is set in Syracuse, New York, and Charlotte, North Carolina, with upcoming books in the series concentrated in and around the Charlotte area. Joe is uniquely qualified to write about both areas of the country since he lived in Syracuse for 36 years and Charlotte for the last 25-plus years. When he's not writing, you will most likely find him spoiling his 3 grandchildren. Now, hey, Joe, how are you doing? You are a prolific writer, and we've had you on before, so how you doing?
Hey, Joe.
I'm doing pretty well, guys. How about you?
Doing well.
Every time we have you on the show, we use that picture of you sitting by the pool, and it's, out there in the Carolinas.
That was definitely not taken in Syracuse. That was taken down here in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Now, you've got a new book, and we're going to go to that here soon, but we do have a couple of callers on the line, so you want to jump into the calls first?
Hey, sure, let's do it.
Okay, the first one we're going to go to, this is in the Chicago area. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello.
Hey. Caller.
Hello, Chicago area.
Oh, that's me.
Hello. Is this
Hi.
That's me. Hi.
Welcome to the show. Did you call in just to listen, or did you have a question?
Well, I kind of have 2 questions.
Great.
Oh, good.
I wanted to find out what gave you the idea to write about a VCR in such a humorous fashion.
Well, that really wasn't my idea. That was the actual author of the book, Dave Murray. He wrote
sorry.
the book. No, that's fine. I simply did the cartoon illustrations. I did the illustrations for the cover and the little spot illustrations throughout the book, kind of mixed it in with the text. He and I both worked for a video electronics retailer at the time, and people were just crazy about not being able to work their VCRs back then. Nobody could figure out how to set a timer. Nobody could use them properly. And the manuals that came along with them just simply weren't doing the trick. So we had, Dave really had this idea that what if we simplified it, kind of dumbed it down, if you will, kind of like the Idiot's Guide type of thing for VCRs. And he wanted to have it with a humorous note, so the illustrations and the cartoon illustrations kind of helped along with that. So that's my contribution to that book. He actually wrote it.
Cool.
Sounds funny.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it.
Okay, Patricia, what was your question? Another question.
I was looking at your titles, and I was wondering, I think you have one that says something, Catch a Tiger by His Tail. And I was wondering if you have that's your book, right?
Yeah, well, it's Catch a Tiger by the Toe, correct. That's the new one.
By the toe.
Okay. Well, my question about that is, are you doing a series that starts with Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo? When you let him go?
No, I'm not. Actually, that particular book is book 26 in a larger series of a multi-author series, the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles. So it's I've done 2 books in that particular series. This happens to be the latest one, which came out in July.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
I'm going to start looking for your work.
Yep.
All right. Well,
thank you.
Thank you for calling in tonight, Patricia. Are you going to stay on hold and listen?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Great.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.
All right. We've got a couple more callers here. We'll take the next one here, and this one's calling from Florida, and I think this might be someone we know. Hello, Florida. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, it is. It's the Carters. How you guys doing?
How did you guess?
You did pull over right on the side of the road. You're not driving right now, are you?
No, we're still driving. Yeah.
We're driving, seeing you.
Yeah, I just had a mysterious voice whisper in my ear. The Carters are calling. The Carters are calling.
It's amazing.
So, Joe, I have to ask you a serious question. Are you a pantser or a plotter?
Yeah. Well, I am a pantser, as anyone that's talked to me before knows. Although for the Magnolia Bluff books, I did the first one, Second Chances, I definitely did a little bit more plotting out because it was a whole different ball game for me with that series, using other people's characters along with my own and kind of mixing that into a town that we shared as a group. So I really, especially for that being kind of a foreign concept for me at the time, decided I wasn't just going to wing that one along. I decided that I should probably have an outline for that. So I did a little bit of one for that. It still wasn't in the same vein that, most people that do an outline would have done, but it's the one and only time I've actually done that. With Catch a Tiger by the Toe, I went back to my old ways of pantsing.
Well, I have to tell you, Catch a Tiger by the Toe, I've read it. I gave it a 5-star review. The characters are so well thought out and presented. I love the relationships between all of the people. It's a fascinating book. I love it, Joe.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And, Joe, can you confirm or deny the fact that you've been secretly creating drawings and you've built up a gallery of VCR-themed pictures? And are you planning on going on tour anytime soon?
Whoa.
The gallery's away.
A gallery of VCR pictures? No.
God.
Well, I can probably confirm that I am not doing that, Rob, but, thank you for asking. I will tell you that I still own a VCR. I do have one. It's hooked up to a TV set downstairs. Haven't put a videotape in it in 100 years, but I do have one just in case I get and want to watch a movie that's on video.
Okay, and I also wanted to tell you that I read Second Chances. I know I know that I did that. And I gave it a 5-star review. I love the book and can't wait to get into the next one.
Well, thank you.
Right.
I appreciate that.
All right.
Fantastic.
Yes, so that's another question. Will there be a next one in this series that you're doing?
Yes.
After Catch a Tiger by the Toe.
Yeah, actually, I actually started. It comes out in July of 2025, and I have started it. But I'm kind of working that along with another book that I'm working on right now also, because I've got. But Redemption is my working title for the July 2025 Magnolia Bluff book, but that of course could change.
So will we see the same characters that we've grown to love? Some of them, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll have
awesome.
Brandon and Joyce in there, and there's probably going to be a surprise with those guys.
Okay.
Jason will be doing his thing, playing baseball and going to high school. So yeah, same people in there that I've put in there. Correct. Yep.
Good.
Awesome.
And his dog too. Brandon's dog too has to come back, right?
Yeah, Max. Of course, Max will be in there. Max
he's really the star.
He's the star of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in, Rob and Joan Carter. We appreciate that. Always good to hear from you. Now, whereabouts are you? You said you're traveling. Where are you at right now?
Right now we're in Paducah, Kentucky.
Yes, there is Paducah, Kentucky.
Say hi to my uncle.
Okay.
We're going to be in, Steve, we're going to be in your neck of the woods tomorrow. We're going to be in Cullman, Arizona.
Alabama.
Oh. Alabama.
Cullman, Alabama.
I always say Arizona, but I mean Alabama.
Take a left turn at Paducah.
No, we're going to be in Cullman, Alabama.
We had a recent guest on a few weeks ago, Marlena Smith, also Marlena Smith Burris. She lives in Cullman, Alabama. We've gone out there and had lunch with her in Cullman.
Had lunch with her. Nice town.
Awesome. Oh yeah, we stopped there a lot on our travels. It's one of our favorite stops.
So you're going to be in Cullman all day, or what's going on?
We're heading we went to a family wedding in Wisconsin, and then we spent 11 days there just visiting with family and catching up on all that kind of stuff. And now we're heading back to Florida.
Just going to be there for the evening.
Yeah, so we'll just be there overnight, and then we'll be heading out early in the morning.
Why Cullman? You know people in Cullman?
No, it's on the route. It's about
just
the right time to stop, and it's
okay.
Yeah, and it's got a good campground.
Yep.
All right. Well, if you roll in early and are looking for something to do for an hour or two, let me know.
Okay, we will.
We'll do.
And thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
You bet. Thanks for having the show on.
You. Yeah, thanks for having the show.
Yeah. All right. All right. We are going to take a commercial break, and we will be right back. We got a whole bunch of calls lined up. Now, before we take the commercial break, I want to throw out a quick thing from X. Robert G. Willscroft. He said we're about 2/3 through recording Keyed. That's the next audio book, so we will get that done when we get those files here. All right, we'll be right back after this break.
Set in medieval Wales during the mystical times of King Arthur, 11-year-old Gavin and his friends are determined to prove their mentor, the Wild Man, innocent of murder. The youngest heir of Pembroke Castle, 11-year-old Gavin longs to prove he is worthy of knighthood, but he fears his own failures, and now he must choose between fleeing and fighting to save his friend. Gavin's coming-of-age story is full of mystery, intrigue, betrayal, and the charms of an eerie witch. Will Gavin earn his knighthood, or will evil challenge his very survival? Read the young adult chapter book, The King's Ransom, Tales and Legends, Young Knights of the Round Table, by Cheryl Carpinello. And now discover the audiobook, narrated by Ethan Drew, with music and sound effects. Produced and published by Fresh Ink Group. Cheryl Carpinello's King's Ransom, Tales and Legends audiobook is available worldwide.
A husband writes about his romance, marriage, and life with the woman of his dreams. Moments of love and intimacy build a strong relationship that cannot be torn apart by her history of sexual abuse and eventual descent into dementia and Alzheimer's. Proudly published by Fresh Ink Group in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats, I Remember Judy is a heartfelt memoir and tribute by Verwain Greenhow. He shares with us the joy, love, intimacy, and happiness of 40-plus years. When his wife could no longer remember it, Verwain Greenhow remembers it for her in I Remember Judy, a Love Story.
All right. Again, both of those titles have book trailers, so get over to YouTube and check them out. Hit that like button. We're going to go back to the phone lines here. This next one here, I believe it's from the Tacoma, Washington area, somewhere out in Washington. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from, and what's your name?
Okay, so my name is Kelly Marshall, and I live in a little tiny burg called Bonnie Lake, Washington, but it's pretty close to Tacoma, so that's the next big town around. So.
Okay, well, I just look at the area code and Google it, so.
Gotcha. I do have some questions for Joe. I don't want to hog the spotlight here, but if you have time, I'm a writer myself, and so I have questions. We all have different ways of handling things, and so I wanted to ask Joe, what keeps him writing, and what's the inspiration for your writing? I mean, we all have to get up in the morning, and I just wanted to know what your inspiration is.
Well, I guess for me, hi Kelly, by the way. I guess the inspiration for me is really the enjoyment of putting pen to paper, sort of, I guess, since I'm actually typing on a keyboard. But I enjoy how I feel when I bring the characters together, and they have a mind of their own, essentially, for when I'm writing it. But when I read it back and something works, it's a feeling like no other, and that inspiration keeps me going forward. I enjoy that. I enjoy the feedback I get, good, bad, or indifferent, on the books, and that keeps me going as well. So I really guess the inspiration is, the audience that I've sort of built up over the last few years, and just the feeling I get from actually sitting down at the keyboard and writing a good story, and sometimes even a good line for that day.
Yeah, just every little bit. Sometimes if I only get a paragraph done, it's like success for the day.
Right.
Another question, and I've struggled with this a little bit, and people have asked me this question: do you write about people you know, and just give them a different name, or do you just take certain characteristics from different people and use those characteristics?
Well, the only time I've ever really written about people I know, actually knew, was in the first book ever, Dead is Forever, that one. There's a lot of I guess a lot of those characters were based completely on people I knew at the time, all with different names, though. That's probably just a compilation of people I've met in my life, and just people I've come across day to day that strike me as someone that might make a good character, or maybe parts of what I liked about them might make a good character. So right now it's really more that. I don't really write the books, like, for instance, Brandon Turner in Catch a Tiger and in Second Chances, not anybody I really knew. So I guess maybe a little of both, but really Dead is Forever is the only one where it was truly based on a lot of people that I knew.
Okay. And just one more question, if you'll let me hog the spotlight just a minute. What is your favorite book that you've written, and why?
Oh, my. Geez, I don't know. Usually the next one, but I don't know. I kind of like Catch a Tiger by the Toe. I think that turned out pretty darn good, and so I guess right now that's probably at the top of my list. I like the work I've done with the Magnolia Bluff series, mainly because it was a lot different for me on one level than the PI stuff. And don't get me wrong, I really enjoy writing the PI stuff, but this was a departure from that, but kind of still kept me in a world of murder and mayhem. So really, I'd say probably those books with Catch a Tiger, just because it's the newest one, is probably my favorite at the moment.
And I do have to comment, because I did read that book, and I thought you handled it well, because it was a tough subject, and I don't want to give anything away, but I thought you handled that very gracefully, and because I was a little bit nervous about it. It's just like that subject is, that's hard for anybody. So anyway, congratulations. I think it's a great book, and I gave you a 5-star too. So and anyway, I hope you get a lot more of those.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks,
Kelly.
Kelly.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
All right. So we've got a whole line of callers here. So we're going to go over to, I believe the next one is, it's Colorado. It might be the Denver area. Hello, Colorado. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
That sounds like Jill Mayer.
Yes, this is Jill.
Okay.
Hi, Jill.
Oh, hi. How are you guys?
Oh,
fantastic.
My first question is, when writing a mystery, how do you balance the clues the real clues that lead to solving the mystery versus fake clues that are red herrings, because you don't want to distract the reader too much, and then when they get to the end, they say, well, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
So,
no, and I agree with that. I mean, the fake clues really, they have to be hidden, but they have to be there, because if they're not there, you're really not being fair to the reader. So, because at the end, if you just have this twist or something that happens that was completely out of left field, and even if they didn't see it coming, they should be able to go back and realize, oh yeah, if I paid more attention here, here, and here, maybe I could have put that together. So, I think that you're unfair to the reader if you don't do that properly. So, a lot of times what I do is I really go back after the fact, and I insert those in, different chapters, different areas of the book where I think it'll work the best. That's usually probably in one of the drafts where I kind of get back and do it. Now I'll put something in there that'll remind me that's a spot that I would like to put something good in as a red herring, but I don't know really. I mean, I can't really describe how I really do it beyond that. I generally write them down ahead of time. In chapter 5 I want to have this, in chapter 10 I want to have that, but I also have to have this and that in chapter 20 and 24, whatever it might be. But sometimes, I mean, when I said I was a pantser, let me just back up a little bit. A lot of times I do know who, or not necessarily who, but how it's going to be resolved at the end. I'm just not always 100% sure who is going to be the person that's at fault. So, who's going to be the person that was the murderer or the person that created the crime. So the clues that I put in there have to make sense, but in some cases might be a little generic so that they can fit more than one possible antagonist towards the end. So, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
I read, I guess it was a police procedural. It's a mixed genre. That's also science fiction, where some of the red herrings were part of the plot and actually made it difficult for the detective trying to solve it. He ended up going down some dead ends. And the Kakuloa, The Downhill Slide by Alistair Mayer, I think is the best book he's written. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it, because he also had to incorporate things like future technology and tree squids and idiosyncrasies of being on a different planet. But next question, author co-op. I understand that you're part of a group of authors that work on the Magnolia series. How much do you work together? Do you just give each other advice? I know you have to work in the same world. Does anybody have veto power, such as, well, that is so bad, I forbid you. You are not allowed to publish that.
Yes, no, and all of the above. So really what I joined about a year into Magnolia Bluff. I was not in the first season, and that's how we're looking at this every year. We're calling it a season. So we got season 1, 2, and we're in season 3 right now. So I had a book that came out in season 2 and one that came in season 3. And when I was invited to join the Underground Authors, I was invited by C.W. Hawes and Caleb Pirtle. So when those two guys got together and decided they wanted to extend that offer to me, I got a whole ton of information that came my way from CW about the town. I got a map of the little village. I got a pretty detailed map of the little village, actually. Character profiles on everybody that's been used that are permanent characters. And so I had a lot to work with when I first started out. I also participated in a critique group with a couple of the other underground authors, which I felt was very important for me, because this way I'd really know if I was on target when I was writing Second Chances as to what they would be looking for, what the expectation was of the books. Now, that being said, yes, we do all work in the same world. We work in the same village. We use a lot of the same characters, each other's characters, but we also bring our own characters to the table that intermingle with them. Some of those characters are forbidden to be killed off. And so there's a list, there is a list of characters from everybody that you can't touch. The ones you cannot kill, and then there are the ones that you can kill. So we've got that going on. There's a lot. There's a lot of connectivity to these stories, anyways, because of the fact that it's all in the same town. But how I like to look at this is they're all standalones that are working as one big series, but you can read each one of them as a standalone mystery. But what's nicer even than that is each author's kind of created their own world within the world. So when you read Second Chances and then you read Catch a Tiger by the Toe, those two books are connected. And even if you didn't read the books, and that first one was book 17, the second one was book 26, even if for some reason you didn't read the ones in between, you wouldn't lose a beat between Second Chances and Catch a Tiger by the Toe reading those. Same thing with C.W. Hawes's books or Brakefield Berkey's books or anybody else's books in the series, is that those books, even if they're 4, 5, 10 books apart from each other, each one that they've written, like C.W. has 4 books, I think, out, and they all interconnect. He's got a story arc that goes through his 4 books that really doesn't disrupt the rest of the series, but makes reading his 4 books more enjoyable to somebody that just wants to read those. Same thing with mine, same thing with Kelly's, or anybody else, Brakefield Berkey's, or Katie McNiven, or anybody else that's a part of that. So
that's cool.
There's a lot of stuff that happens there, which to the reader will be somewhat seamless, but it takes a lot of work to make all that work, if you will. But that's kind of how
it sounds like that would incorporate several sub story arcs where each author would have their own.
Yes, and that absolutely happens. And of course we share characters. Like one of the characters that I rely heavily on in my 2 books is one of C.W.'s characters, and the reason for that is because Detective or really Sergeant Investigator Reese Sovereign is the guy that really investigates the murders in Magnolia Bluff for the most part. So my retired New York police detective interacts primarily with him and the police chief when it comes to trying to help solve those crimes, where somebody else may not mention Reese Sovereign's name at all, other than maybe C.W., because that was his character. So it just kind of depends on who you're reading at that time. We have some of the books are very, very cozy. Some kind of run the line between being cozy and maybe not cozy. Some are psychological. Some are paranormal. So there's a lot going on in this series, and there's something for everyone. And no matter which book you picked up at whatever time in the series you are, you can read it without fear of feeling like you missed anything for not reading the other books. Now, I personally believe you should start at book 1 and go right through book 27, which is where we are now. I still think you get the most enjoyment doing that. But to answer the other part of your question, we do meet once a month via Zoom, and we talk through all the different things that we need to talk about when it comes to holding this series together and what we're looking forward to doing in upcoming seasons. So we do have a lot of that, and of course there's a lot of emails back and forth. So
interesting. Final question. I noticed there's only one audiobook part of that series. Are there plans to do more, and do you have any plans to put out any of your books as audios?
Well, I've thought about it. I can tell you that the thing about the series is that, for the most part, we all use the same cover artist, but we are also all responsible for getting that book published. Each one of us. We're not going through one publishing house for 27 books, that kind of thing. So we're all on our own to make sure that all takes place properly. But as far as so that would really kind of where the audio would fall. And I think Jinx is the one that has the audiobook available, if I'm not mistaken. And I would like to do that. I would like to do that on all my books. But quite frankly, I just haven't done it because there's a lot of work there that, I just sometimes don't have time to really research and get into. And of course, there's the financial aspect of that as well. So maybe more to come later on that for me, but I can't really speak for the other authors on that one as far as how they feel about it.
I encourage you to do that because I don't have much time to read, and if I'm reading, it's often because I'm editing. But I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I'm looking forward to. I'm going to try to find the time to read your latest.
Oh, well, I hope you do. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for calling in, Jill.
Yeah, we appreciate that. A lot of good questions.
Have a good evening.
All right. You
too. We are going to take a break. We've got more callers lined up, and we will get right back to them.
In 1948, 8-year-old Kay is at Oakdale, the Lapeer State Home in Michigan, where people of all ages with physical and mental aberrations come to live. Kay wonders why she is here and if she will ever leave. She cares for an infant who will not let anyone else feed her, and she has friends, especially a boy her age she calls Toe. When Kay and Toe grow close as teens, she discovers the home has scheduled surgery that will change her life. With the clothes she's wearing and the file containing her life story, Kay flees late one dark night. Toe tries to chase after her, but a fateful accident robs him of the chance to seek the love of his life. Will Kay ever experience the kind of family she has longed for? Published in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook editions by Fresh Ink Group, Nell Cooper's Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow is a historically accurate coming-of-age story about identity, belonging, and learning to choose one's own destiny. Read Nell Cooper's Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow.
Mr. President, I've got your back. South Carolina State College was established in 1896 by the state legislature to provide educational opportunities to African Americans. The college is situated on land acquired by the state from the United Methodist Church in 1869. Thomas E. Miller was named the first president. Faced with many challenges and struggles, Miller and his wife, Anna, did an excellent job of moving the college forward and building a foundation for later growth and development. Since that time, 13 presidents and 5 interims have continued to build upon Miller's legacy. Although much is written about the presidents, very little has been written about their spouses who aided them in furthering the university. This book is by 2 of the school's prominent first ladies, Abigail H. Hughini, author of There Must Be Something in the Water, Anthology of the Fourth Generation, Descendants of Green Pond, After the Emancipation, and Mary L. Smalls, Retired Educator Administrator. Now available in case-limited hardcover, softcover, and all digital ebook formats. Mr. President, I've Got Your Back is published by Fresh Ink Group. This important contribution to African American history features 12 dynamic, smart, and innovative First Ladies who demonstrated through their untiring support, Mr. President, I've got your back.
All right. There's your jam, Stephen.
Yeah.
Your grooving jam. All right, back to the phones. This one here is going to be a caller from somewhere in the large state of Texas. I believe it's in like the Abilene-ish area. I'm not sure, but Texas, you're on the air. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello, Texas. Hello, area code 315.
Maybe Abilene-ish offended somebody. Abilene-ish.
Hello, Texas. Going once. Going twice.
Well, is it? Hey, if it's 315, that might be New York.
Yeah, is that right? Am I on?
Yeah. Where are you calling from?
Oh, from New York. From New York.
Okay. Oh, okay.
315.
I thought that was Texas.
I can talk with Texas drawl if you like.
Okay. Yeah. What's your name?
Dave Murray.
Well, welcome to the show, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Dave, by the way, is the guy who wrote the House Turning Your VCR book.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad to finally get credit.
Anytime.
I got a couple questions for Joe. Number one, Joe, I noticed you like to write a lot about food.
Yes.
You very expository about your meals and how much you like them. And had you ever thought about writing a book about food?
No. I've never thought about writing a book about food. I figured that I would just write anything I wanted to have fun about food with in these books. It's funny, though, because most of the people that have mentioned the food references, they seem to like them, and I wasn't sure, so that's kind of why I've added a few more in here and there as I've gone on. In the Razman series, I probably do more of that than I do in the Magnolia Bluff books, because I've got some different characters that make it fun and easy to do that. I've got Vinny Gabriano in the Razman books, and he's a guy from Brooklyn, New York. He loves his pizza, so it's a lot of fun to do a lot of those type of references when it comes to food with him, and he enjoys that because he's kind of a shady sort of mobby character. But I don't know. I mean, Dave, you've seen me. I enjoy food. What can I tell you?
All right, that kind of leads to my second question, which is the Vinny character is hilarious in the Razman books, and I guess it's Reese and whoever the main guy is, and I don't remember names, in the Second Chances series.
Brandon Turner.
No, thank you. The banter between those two is hilarious, and towards that end, I would like to see you just fully engage with a humorous detective novel. Like the Get Shorty type. You saw Get Shorty.
Yeah.
Along the lines of Get Shorty, you have the ability, you have a sense of humor. It would be nice to see you unleash your humorous side. You're a great fiction writer. You're a great detective novelist, but I would love to see that.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned that before. Though, Dave, I mean, since you and I had a conversation about that once before, I've put more humor in these books, but I try to put it in the way that I did with Detective Sovereign and Brandon Turner, where it's a back and forth banter kind of a thing where it's lighthearted, but it's not at the same time. So I think they're good comic relief areas. As far as doing a full on comedy in the type of book in the form of like a Dave Barry or Elmore Leonard mystery type of detective book or anything like that, I don't know. I'd have to really think hard and long on whether or not I feel I could pull that off or not.
I think you absolutely could pull it off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll give it some thought down the road.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the call.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work, Joe.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
All right. So long, guys.
All right. We got another call, which we'll get to here in just a second, but we got a comment over on X, and this is Verwayne Greenhill. He's just saying, sounding good tonight, Joe. So thanks a lot for chiming in, Verwayne Greenhill, and hello to you and Lisa. Glad to have you in the audience tonight. And this next caller is area code 651, and I believe that's Minnesota. Minnesota, eh? Hello, Minnesota. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Is this me?
That's you.
All right. Well, I'm C.W. Hawes, and I'm actually in Texas. It's just the phone that's Minnesota. Yeah.
That happens, eh?
We moved. Yeah, you betcha. We moved to sunnier climate 6 years ago. So I just first off wanted to shovel some praise Joe's way for anybody who hasn't read Joe's books. I think that Joe is just simply a fabulous author. I was looking it up, and we ran into each other 6 years ago, and that was a good connection because Joe's Razman series is just a fabulous series of hard-boiled detectives brought into the 21st century. So when the opportunity came to add somebody to the underground authors, Caleb Pirtle and I were talking about that, and I suggested Joe, and Caleb jumped right on that and said, "Oh yeah, that's it." So that was good, and I'm glad because Joe has really contributed two fabulous books to that Magnolia Bluff series. So that's been it's been very good. I'm glad to know Joe, and anybody who is looking for good crime fiction, especially in the traditional mystery route, you cannot go wrong picking up one of Joe's books.
Wow, that's high praise indeed.
Oh,
It's well deserved.
Yeah. Now, I want to jump in and mention here. We've mentioned Caleb Pirtle a couple of times tonight. He's one of our favorite writers. Those of you who don't know, we lost Caleb this past year too. So anytime we have an occasion to bring up Caleb, talk about his books, we encourage people, go out there and discover him if you're not already familiar with his work. That's Caleb Pirtle. He's got some great books out there. And when we lose an indie author, we don't lose them completely. We try to keep their works alive and keep spreading the word for them. So everybody get out there and discover Caleb Pirtle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
and I want to just mention here, Caleb had been on this show as well, and when he passed away, we did a memorial replay of that show for Caleb, and both of those episodes, it's the same episode, but both of them are the one of the highest rated shows, most listened to shows we've got. So that says a lot about Caleb's fans and his friends and his family.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Caleb is the one who started the Underground Authors, which is the group that's producing the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles. And, I count it as one of the greatest points in my life is when Caleb invited me to join what became the Underground Authors. Mm-hmm. And in getting to know him and in getting his advice and insights on writing and, being able to bounce stuff off of him, just a fabulous, fabulous man that's greatly missed.
Yes, he is. But look, Joe is carrying on his legacy as well as other people, and 2 books in that series, Joe.
Yes.
I bet you can't wait to do about 15 more, right?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've started my 3rd one in that series. I'm enjoying this series. I like the Magnolia Bluff series. I was a reader of that series before I was an author in that series. So I've liked it since before I was a part of it, and I'll continue to like it for as long as it'll run.
I have a question for Joe.
Okay.
I know we've edged around this question before, Joe, but you write fabulous mysteries, and there's no question there. That's really a strong suit. But I was wondering if you've given any serious thought to maybe doing something other than mysteries, and if so, what would be the motivation there? And if not, why would you not want to?
Okay. Well, yes, I have. Matter of fact, I've got one that I kind of work on when I'm not working on anything else. It's one of those slow-burning projects. It's sort of a horror paranormal type of mystery, or not really mystery, but it's a horror paranormal. And I've got a working title on it called The Farmhouse. and it's about a guy that grew up down the street from this, what he felt was a wonderful home, beautiful farmhouse, property, looked like it was a very nice working farm at the time. But he was a little boy, and as he grew up, things he didn't know about the family that lived in that house, kind of came to light years later. He has an opportunity to buy that house before he finds out some of that stuff. And he moves in, and lo and behold, he's having some visitors that he hasn't really completely come across yet. He just knows they're there. So that's about as far as I've gotten as far as being able to talk about it. But I've been working on that for several years. I just haven't really, it hasn't been my top priority to finish it. But probably mainly because I'm kind of learning how to write that. It's definitely a different set of tools for me than writing a straight up PI mystery. So, learning how to do that, learning how to, work that so that it makes sense to me and hopefully a reader. I'm just not ready to share it much more beyond that at this point. But I have thought about it, CW. I just haven't really made it a priority at this point.
All right. Well, that's good to know because I think that if you did tackle something like that, well, personally, I think it would be fabulous because you're just a good writer, super good writer.
I appreciate it. Well, and
so
I've done a couple of goofy short stories, where kind of touches on some of that stuff, and so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Super. All right. Well, I'll let you go. Have a good evening, and it's good listening to you. So
thanks for calling in.
So,
yeah, thanks, CW. All right. So we're getting ready to wrap up. And Joe, since you are such a prolific writer, you're a good candidate to give advice. What kind of advice would you give to other authors?
Yeah, we certainly heard that a lot tonight. Huh? Well, I guess for me, the advice I was given a long time ago, I really kind of hold to, and that is to read a lot. And I know it's a very simple thing, but you can learn a lot about how to write a novel by reading novels, and especially if you are a writer, because you can kind of look at it from a different perspective. Like a lot of times I'll read a book or a novel for the fun of it, to enjoy it, but then I'll go back and read it a second time with a writer's eye and kind of look at it a little bit differently. How did they achieve what they were trying to accomplish? When it came to things like where I was asked earlier about red herrings, how did they come up with how they put theirs in? So, I think reading really teaches you a lot. And I think it's the same thing whether it's a great novel, which I think is where you should be reading, but I also think that, some of the stuff maybe is not considered that you can also learn. You can learn from that too. So for me, that's really one of my biggest things that someone told me a long time ago, and I've held to that. And I just think that's a really good place to start is by reading. Because if you're not reading well, you can't really write well. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree. Good advice.
Yeah, excellent advice. So our guest tonight has been author Joe Congel. And Joe, the name of your latest book in the Magnolia Bluff Chronicles series is?
Catch a Tiger by the Toe.
Catch a Tiger by the Toe. Yeah, and it's not part of an Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo series, Patricia Guthrie, but it is part of, book 27, the Magnolia Bluff Chronicles series. Yeah, so it's author Joe Congel. Now, Joe, you've got some fans out there. How do they find you? How do they follow you? How do they contact you? Can they stalk you? What's going on?
Sure, they can all stalk me. You can find me really anywhere. I mean, I'm on Twitter or X, I guess. I'm on that. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I find that there's a lot of author things going on LinkedIn, so I'm on LinkedIn pretty heavily over there. I've got a blog called Joe Congel Fiction Stories where you can go there and and kind of learn a little bit about me. You can learn about the latest Magnolia Bluff books and what's going on with that and the authors there. I also sneak a short story in here or there. If you go back far enough in the archives of those, you'll find a lot of that kind of stuff, and just my thoughts on writing. So you can go there to find out more about me, and from there you can find links to connect all the books.
Cool. All right, author Joe Congel. People, get out there and discover him if you're not already a fan. It's been great having you on the show, Joe.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate being on the show. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so
next week, remember, next week is a encore presentation, a rerun, so we will be live the following week after that. And we hopefully will have some guests. We've already got them lined up. Hopefully I will have them all scheduled, so keep your eyes and ears open on that.
Yeah, and I want to remind everybody, if you've not already checked out StoryEmpire.com, get over there and subscribe to that. Click on the blog, because 3 times a week, 12 authors who are good at this stuff are posting articles about how to. The one this Friday is going to be by me, and it's how to write a book blurb. So check that out, StoryEmpire.com. Beem has one once a month on there, and just a whole lot of other cool stuff. So thanks, everybody, for participating. All you callers tonight made it especially fun.
Yes. All right. We will see everybody again next week. Say goodbye, everybody.
No, next week you'll have your rerun.
We'll see you next week, but it'll be in a rerun form.
Yeah. All right. Have fun, everybody.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Bye, Joe.
Take care.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
You're listening to The Voice of Indie. Still Not Enough examines the plight of minority millennials in the workforce. Janelle A. Jordan details her own perspective molding cultural upbringing, along with professional encounters hindered by others' preconceived notions and unconscious biases. She shares examples that are relatable to many with similar experiences. The scars from every denial fueled the desire for each minority millennial to do more. This book also guides leaders managing today's DE&I employees. Norms are evolving, and organizations must adapt or be left behind. Proudly published by Fresh Ink Group in all print and digital formats worldwide, Still Not Enough brings transparency to the challenges of today's younger and more inclusive workforce.
You've been a part of Voice of Indie, a production of Fresh Ink Group. Spread the word, support our guests, then find us at FreshInkGroup.com and be sure to hashtag Fresh Ink Group.